My name is Brian Solis. I'm a digital analyst, a digital anthropologist. Some call me a futurist. I'm also an author, but at the end of the day, what I really am is a human being. And the reason I say that is because my job is to study disruptive technology and its impact on business and also society. But the most interesting thing about this is that we are changing. Technology is changing us, not just the devices that we use, but also how we use those devices in our personal and professional lives, and more so, how that ultimately affects everything from our behaviors, our expectations, our preferences, our how elusive we become, maybe even a bit more demanding, a bit more impatient, definitely informed, definitely misinformed. But at the end of the day, all of these things require someone to understand it so that we can direct what we all need to do to get to where we want to be. Now, the word innovation, oh, it's everywhere. It's one of those words that I think seems to mean different things to different people. But there are other things that we should consider. So, for example, I'm a geek. I love stuff. I not only study new technology, I use it. So, this is Scully. It's a helmet. It's an augmented reality helmet for motorcycle riders that combines almost like Google Glass inside of a motorcycle helmet meets Siri with some AI. Here you have a screen. You see it while you're riding. It shows you behind you because there's a camera. There's speakers in here. That's just one of the things I live with. I was also an early adopter of Pebble, which was one of the first smartwatches. Now I've upgraded to Apple Watch, which, by the way, I love. I mean, of course, the Apple iPhone was innovative, and this is just some of the stuff I have laying around here. This is a capture device that's always recording ambient noise around you so that at any moment you could send the last 30 seconds to your phone as a snippet so you never miss what's happening around you. This is the Myo band that you wear to control your computer, your games, what have you, just simply with gesture controls. It's actually very Minority Report. It's very interesting. More on that later. This is the new DJI Mavic Pro Drone. Actually, this is a recreation of mine. Now, what do all of these things have in common that I just shared with you? They're very cool. They all have a wow factor. Some will change the world, some won't. Some will vanish, and some will go on to be the next iPhone, except for the iPhone that I showed you, because that is already the next iPhone. And there's another one coming. But the point of all of this is this. They're all examples of things that change behavior. And that's what innovation is. But I think a lot of times businesses get caught up with what I call iteration, which we have to really understand because it's not a bad thing, it's just different. Iteration is doing the same things better. But innovation is doing new things that unlocks or creates new value. It's very interesting because only innovation could lead to disruption, which is one of the things I study. And disruption we can define as doing new things that makes the old things obsolete. Now, why is that important? Well, because I study, let me tell you what I study. Right now I study everything from digital transformation to innovation to customer experience to employee experience to culture. But all of those things have the same thing in common, which is this. Human beings are part of all of it. And if you're an employee, if you're an executive, trying to bring about change within the organization or trying to make sense of all of the things, some of the things that I showed you and all the crazy things that are around us, we have to take pause to really understand what is actually happening. When we go back and we invest in new technology, or if we try to argue with IT, or if IT tries to argue with marketing, or if marketing tries to argue with the folks working in service or CX, or if we're all trying to justify ROI for bigger budgets and more resources to decision makers and stakeholders within our organization. The one thing that they don't know or understand is exactly why all of this is relevant. And it is because technology has just become part of us. Most people who live a digital lifestyle blur, not intentionally, just as a function of reality, blur online and offline. So if I could find my Oculus Rift, which is somewhere around here, or my old Google Glass, which is somewhere over there, I think about it, I have a great stock for eBay. The point is, though, is that each of these things push people forward. So when you think about investing in new technology as a means of trying to compete in a digital economy, what happens is you're actually just iterating because you're basing how you invest and use new technology on what was legacy thinking, legacy perspectives, the norm. It's okay, normal. But now there's a new normal, right? So when people use Uber or Postmates or any one of these devices, their sense of expectations and preferences and behaviors, they move away from normal to a new normal, right? So that creates a break in the path. So when we talk about iteration versus innovation, what's happening is when we invest in new stuff, say AI or chatbots or what have you, we're using or designing what's possible based on what we know, when in fact, what's happening is what we don't know. So I often say there's this really tremendous need to learn and also unlearn in order to innovate. Now look, iteration is important. We need to improve how things are. But also innovation is equally important, if not more important, because that's what it's going to take to disrupt. Iteration does not lead to disruption. Innovation leads to disruption. With that said, if it's one thing I've learned as a human being, aside from all of this, and what I hope to share with you, and in ways I hope to work with you, even if it's virtually, even if it's through my chatbot. I'm not kidding, I actually have one. It is this. Any story of innovation starts with the story of personal transformation. You have to actually see or think or believe that something could be done better. Something could be done differently, and that those things combined can bring about meaningful change. Because as I talk about with digital Darwinism, which is technology and society continue to evolve, we just have to figure out as it's evolving where are we in alignment or not in alignment with that. But every story starts with you. Every story starts with your ability to see what's happening and your ability to convince others what's happening in a non-threatening, in a fully inclusive, in a I'm not going to scare you, but let's do this together because this is actually good. It explains everything that's happening outside of us, and we either come along with it or we don't. That is what it takes to succeed. It's not just the geeks in Silicon Valley or in any tech hotspot around the world. They're part of the change, but we're part of the mainstream. We're part of the people who go to work, who live by life standards that entrepreneurs and tech companies, for the most part, that's the beauty of what they do, is that they don't follow the rules that we grew up with or that we're measured by. But at the same time, we do have to start challenging our own conventions and take from what they're doing, but also learn from what others are doing and what they aren't doing, whether that's other employees, coworkers, or customers, and say, what is it that's really bringing about change? What is it that I don't get, and what is it that I need to get? And how does it affect my routine every day? Are they bringing us on a path of iteration, innovation, or worse, just irrelevance? And that's where all of this starts, is just the questions that we're asking. Can we see things differently in order to do things differently? And that's what I hope to share with you. Or at least right now, get you to think differently. Because at the end of the day, if we don't think differently, we can't act differently. And we can't blaze new trails if we're not willing to lead the way. And lastly, if you're waiting for somebody to tell you what to do, you're on the wrong side of innovation. I think that's what makes this such an important time, because we have the choice to not only innovate outside of us, but to start with innovation right here. And it's hard because that means once you say yes, tomorrow's path is different. It means a little bit more work, a little bit more learning, and maybe that never stops. But as someone who studies disruption and new technology, I'm not going to wait for the robots to take over. I'm not going to wait for technology to dictate what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do my best to fight for relevance, fight for change, bring as many people as I can with me, convince management that this is the best path while we bring about the best of what we've learned and learn about the best we don't know and create the companies of the future, something that's not only agile, but adaptive, relevant, meaningful, sustainable, and ahead from an innovation standpoint where we actually disrupt and make everyone else catch up. And that starts with you. And that, I think, is the beauty of innovation, is because every story of innovation starts with one person saying, what if, why not, can't we? And let's just try. Suddenly trying becomes what's worth rewarding, not what's worth chastising or belittling. Because every bit we try, we get stronger, we gain expertise. When we gain expertise, our teams are not only stronger, but they're more unified, they're more capable, and that expertise is contagious. We learn and grow together. Easier said than done. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here. Because together, community is stronger than any one person or any one thing. We're all going to do this. And I look forward to working with you.